Hi all, welcome to Workato Masterclass Series. Today we are going to learn a very important and excited topic. That's a webhook in Workato. Okay, so let's begin our session with a quick recap. That is what we have learned in the previous session. We have learned about our API platform with a real-time use case, right? So how basically API platform works. So we have given how API endpoint has to be created first. Then we adding the access profile that and adding clients with respect to your authorizations, rate limit, and all those things. Then using the same example, we have created a recipe and then we have created a actions followed that, right? So that's how we ended our the previous session. So today we are going to learn a very important topic that is Webhook. So what you all know about Webhook, right? So Webhook is a way for one system to send a real-time data to another system based on a specific event or a triggers. Okay, let me tell you a example. Okay, how to basically the Webhook works. Say example, I have a created an order. Okay, now I have a created an order. I should get a SMS, right? Now that can be done through Webhook, right? It's event based. So once any user created an order, that order placement, once its placement is done, the user has to get a notification that your order is placed. We are going to ship it, something kind of, right? That. So how it works? The first point is how it works. It's a real-time notifications and it is asynchronous and typically event driven. Okay, why it is asynchronous? Because we're not waiting for the response. We are waiting. It's a what you call, like, we are not waiting for the anything to become, right? It's scheduled everything. So once it's scheduled, it automatically comes to our point. So there is no kind of we are waiting for something. It's a push based because we are pushing the data. Means the other system push to the data to our URL. So example, I have given my data. So example, username, password. Once I give that, our register, the data will be registered in the event. That is like, say example, you take any e-commerce website, right? We have website we triggered with, we have registered with what? Our mobile number, email ID, right? So that is access for them a email. Okay, access an email to send us that trigger. So once we place the order, that gives us the push the data to the our email ID or a mobile number. That's how it basically the interaction happens, right? So hence it's an interaction type based URL. Basically whatever we had set up the URL, that is an interaction based URL. So okay, so that's how the webhook is. What is webhook, how it works, and what type of interaction type it is. Since API is, it's a pull based, not a push based. It's a pull because we are pulling the data or we are giving back something kind of, we have an interaction one to one. Once we get the data itself, it's like once we get the request, we are sending it back. It's a kind of synchronous process, not a asynchronous, right? So let's have a small key difference between API and webhook so that you'll be familiar with the API and a webhook. Okay. So first I said the data transfer, right? Data transfer is in API what? It's a pull based. It's a kind of request and response. Whereas in webhook, it's a push based. That's an event driven trigger mechanism that can be done through manual or a scheduled API calls, or it's kind of basically in webhook file, it's automatically triggered by an event, right? So use case, say example, retrieve or send data on demand. Say example, I have want to get our data, so I'll be setting up get URL, right? Get API endpoint. So I'll getting the data. Once I request that URL to the client or a server, like from the client, I'll be setting to server, right? Server gives me back the results. So right line in webhook, it's a real-time identifications. As I gave an example to you, right? So let's say like one more is like latency, that is can involve polling or it can be slower. It's an immediate response. What is the latency? How much fast we get a response back. The control, it's initiated by the client, where it's initiated by the server or system. System means, so example, ours is like say Workato, right? System, like one system, and a more system is like example. Any other system, you can take like Amazon or any e-commerce website. That if suppose they want to send us the event, that will set up our webhook URL. That's all, right? So let's understand this webhook with an example. Okay, let's go to our workspace. Okay, so once you log into your workspace, I have just created a folder called Webhook POC. That is up to you whether you want to create or not. It's like just a common to differentiate between the any other folders. Okay, so I have not set up anything right now. I'll just show you like the sample one which I created. It is not properly created, but I just want to show you. Say like I just edit it. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll just remove this everything. Okay, everything I'll remove. I don't want anything. Okay, see how basically you have to set up a webhook. Okay, let me show you that first. Okay, what I'll do, I'll create a one more webhook. Okay, let me delete this first. Instead of creating new one, I just delete this. So I'll be removing the from the trash as well. Okay, it's always a good practice to remove the permanently data if it's not required. Okay, don't keep it in the trash for a long time. Okay, so let's go to recipe. Okay, now what is my trigger point is, that's a webhook, right? So let's have a webhook. That's a my trigger point, starting point. Okay, let's type webhook here, webhook. Okay, now I'll type recipe 001. Let's say 1. Okay, and I'll give trigger and like get an order. Okay, get an order details. Okay, I'll show you why I have set up my recipe name as order details. Okay, let's go start building it. Okay, so now this is how, once you set up the webhook, right? Like that's a starting point. That's how it will be the right side of your workspace looks. There's no any webhook is URL is done. It's not created, and there is a start guided type, right? So what I'll do, I'll just go to start guided type. I'll give a details, get order. Okay, so once you give a event name, okay, go to next. Now if you see, this webhook start looking for an event, right? I'll just copy this. So there is an website called eventbrite.com. Okay, there you can basically test your webhooks. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll go to this previously created. I'll just remove that. Okay, just delete it. Now what I'll do here is add a webhook. Okay, I'll create a webhook. You have to provide your generated webhook URL from the Workato. Okay, now you have a following actions, right? Or see, from attendee to till venue, you have a all lot of actions to be performed. So anything, any action is performed here, that will be get triggered there. So now what I gave is order details, correct? So what I will select is order placed. Okay, add a webhook. It will add. Okay, once it added, there's an option of testing it. Now if I click a test, okay, so see, you got 200 as response back, right? So that means my Workato have accepted the event which is came from Eventbrite, because that's how the webhook is URL created in that. That's how it got communicated. It's a push paste, right? So hence it's pushed the event to our Workato, where Workato has accepted that as an event, and it's generated the headers as well as the payload. for us. What a payload it is? Post. Put or post with a JSON payload. You see, we received a user ID. We got the input URL, endpoint URL, actions, and webhook ID, right? So its action was test, right? So hence it what test. Now set up a webhook. So once you've done that, it'll the payload schema will get generated automatically. And also if you see the headers, it gets created as well. Okay. So this is how the webhook basically works on this case. Okay. In our case. So now let's say you knew webhook, right? Always remember the 2 points. So okay, let me save this first. Okay. Now I'll go to the my webhook here, right? So if you see this webhook URL is whatever we create till this, okay, this one, right? Let me show you one more. I'll just create one more webhook URL for you to understand the difference. Okay, say I'll create one more recipe. I'll just create one more, say, webhook. It's say like webhook 02 order deleted. Okay, I'll just say it. I'll see. Now what I'll do, I'll go to the my recipe order deleted. Okay, let's copy this. Yeah, I'll just set up the one more webhook now. I'll go to webhook. Now add webhook. See now, just give it that order place order. I'll just say like order refunded. Okay, let's see that. I already deleted and I'll be getting refund. Okay, now okay, test it. So I should receive, right? I received the payload with the webhook ID, user ID, and the actions. Set up it now. Now you observe these two URLs. Okay, see it start with E308 and ending with 4404, right? I'll open it this one in another tab and I will show you the previous webhook which I created, right? Which is okay, right? I'll go to that. Now if we observe, right, A308, right, ending with 404, right? And if you check, everything remains same until you give the event name, right? Check. You can check D748. We have D748, 4F28, right? 4F28, 92FC, 92FC, FB3D9, B3D9. Yes. So the differentiation between two webhooks in the dev environment or test or a production, anything, that is an event name. If you give a same event name again, that will cause an issue because if you give same event name, that means which webhook it has to trigger, right? If I select same event name again and again, right? See now, see I'll do one thing. What I'll do is to show you, I'll just select the same event name. Okay, I'll just select this. Now I'll just save it. Okay, now let's see whether I will get this webhook as this one, whether which webhook will get trigger. Okay, let's see. Now I don't have any jobs driven because it's a test was created, right? I just set up the webhook. So now what I'll do, I'll just go to my webhook. Okay, now what I'll do, I have created the say now refunded, right? So order date is not there, correct? So what I'll do with the same thing, get order, because I have set up a get order event name as for the both of the recipe event name, correct? Get order, and here also if you see it's a get order, correct? Now what I'll do, I'll just trigger the test. Okay, test button. Let's see whether I will get order. So it says 200, but do you think which webhook would have been triggered? That we're not sure, right? Because we gave a same event name. Let's see which event got triggered. We see here we got triggered with this, right? And we can see here we got triggered. See, this also got triggered, right? So that means you have two trigger events at one same time. That means it's a very difficult to differentiate, right? So by chance, say example, my order deleted had sent me back, sent the everything is processed in the action item and send it back, the results, then the original recipe which has to send the recipe, the events or actions to back to the requester, that will fail because some other recipe had sent the result back, which is maybe in an ideal case which is happen can happen. So make sure that you have to differentiate two webhook with an event name properly. Don't duplicate an event name. Always remember that. So this is how the webhook works. Okay. In the next session, we'll go with an example with a use case, real-time use case. First, what I will do it is like I'll show you the use case, how should we do a design. Okay. Then we'll show you the actual recipe design. Okay. So we'll go back to our presentation now and we'll go with a quiz. So it's a quiz time. So let's have a first question. Our first question is, what is the main purpose of Webhook in Workato? First, the answer options are for you: to request data from another system on demand, to automatically trigger a workflow based on an event, to schedule job for future execution, or it is to enhance the user interface in Workato. I guess it's a very straightforward question. I think everyone will answer this. Yes, that's correct. To automatically trigger a workflow based on an event. Here's the second question goes. What is a key difference between a webhook and an API in Workato? It's very, very important to understand the difference between webhook and API, right? Say the first answer is the first answer options are: a webhook pulls data while an API pushes data. Okay, webhook is an event driven while an API is request driven. A webhook requires manual interventions while API is an automatic, and webhook is a slower compared to an API. So which option suits well to differentiate webhook and API? I guess most of you asked to answer this question. Let me give you the answer. That's it. API webhook in webhook is a webhook is an event driven while API is request driven. The third and final question for you: which of the following best describes the nature of webhook communications? The options are synchronous and request based, asynchronous and event driven, polling based and manual, schedule and time based. It's a very, very straightforward question. I guess everyone will answer. I am very confident about you guys too. I think everyone answered this. Let me give the answer. Yes, it's asynchronous and event driven. Okay. Okay, guys. This will end our session, but I guess we have given you enough knowledge on Webhook as well as the difference between Webhook and an API. But don't forget to do your homework. Okay, it's always important to do a homework. That learning, just listening my videos will not help you out. You have to do your homework very well. Just listen it and do a practice with the same concepts. Okay, since I gave you the free website which you can host your webhook URL and just test it, right? Let's give a confidence in your real-time projects as well as it boosts your confidence. If any project comes also, it will boost your confidence, right? I guess that's how I want to end. This is how I want to end your this session, particular session. But we'll meet you soon, right? With an amazing video and the use case as well as the design. Until then, Keep trying, keep learning, keep smiling, guys. Thank you, guys.